Another event, another story, another mishap, another blunder that Victor has happened to experience was with his insulin. Now, this is quite early on. He's got diabetes, of course. The type of diabetes that he has, he needs to take insulin for it to help regulate his blood sugar levels. Now, he had been given an insulin that he was taking, as suggested, as prescribed. However, he was having, his body was rejecting it. It was having an allergic reaction to that insulin. Time and time again, he brought this up to the doctors, and they just told him, look, we don't have anything else. That's what you've got to take. So he refused to take the insulin. He stopped taking the insulin, and he would say that the doctors would sometimes make mocking comments about it. They'd be like, oh, are you still keeping the insulin in the fridge? Because they were aware, because he had told them, I'm not taking the insulin because, I'm having allergic reactions to it. It's causing me discomfort. I need something else. I've left it in the fridge. I'm not taking it, and they didn't offer him anything else. And it was just left in the fridge, and sometimes the doctors would make funny or mocking comments about it. The thing that I find really weird about that all is I remember when he spoke with his, it was either his chemist that he goes to. They were saying that there's different types of insulin, and it just so happened a number of months later, when he was seen by a different specialist, they asked him, what insulin are you taking? And he's like, this is the one that they prescribed to me, but I'm not taking it, because I've been having an allergic reaction to it. The specialist then turns around to Victor and says, yeah, there's a reason why you're having an allergic reaction to it, or your body's not taking to it. It's because that insulin is specifically for old people. It's for the elderly. I believe Victor at this time, he was between 30 and 40 years old. He's in his late 50s now. So maybe the insulin would be more appropriate towards these stages, and beyond than it was for a 30 to 40-year-old man. But yeah, so he was given insulin that was wrong, and it was causing an allergic reaction. And then he stopped taking it, so it put him in a dangerous position. Granted, the doctors weren't actually acknowledging his issue. I think it's just another example of why, Victor's developed his, I wouldn't call it paranoia because these things are real, but his mistrust for the hospital. Like, just imagine, age 35, you're left with no kidneys, you're induced with diabetes, you can no longer pass urine, you're impotent as well. For half of the planet, this is specifically for the men, being made impotent at the age of 35 psychologically, that does a lot of damage, and what it can do for your love life as well, for those you are in an intimate relationship with, it can be devastating. Not only that, he's limited to, I believe, 500 milliliters of fluid per day. That's the maximum that he can consume. There's all sorts of just craziness that's happened to him. It's ridiculous, to be fair, and I can totally understand, why he's developed these feelings. It even got to a point where the counsellor that they had him seeing for his mental health wrote a letter to the hospital stating, and this was about 3 years ago, wrote a letter to the hospital stating, look, this is becoming too much for me to actually handle Victor, because Victor's dark thoughts aren't only just about hurting himself, but potentially hurting those around him. Victor's mental health deteriorated greatly because of this. You know, and since that letter was written, he hasn't had any other psychological help. The hospital have done nothing, and this was 3 years ago. Now, say Victor were to have acted out, you know, on his thoughts, wouldn't the hospital be, you know, liable for that? Don't they have some sort of responsibility? But yeah, there's so much to say. I think it's just a case of, you know, watching the documentary and sharing Victor's story, sharing the video, signing the petition and getting, you know, behind him. That's what needs to be done right now.
I've had a kidney. And I said, I haven't had any kidney. What are you talking about? She goes, oh, can you wait outside? And we get the porter to take you back up to the ward. And I waited. The porter took me back up. She said she was going to have a word with my doctor. Why is that on there if I haven't had a transplant?
Yeah.
And she'd get back to me. I mean, there was nothing since today.
Nothing since.
Nothing. It's all rubbish. It's all cover up.